Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. Ho, ho, ho.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there are only 95 days until Christmas 2024. Oh, can you believe it? We're under 100 days, fastly approaching just 90 days, 3 months until Christmas Eve. 95 days to Christmas Eve, and it's Friday. How about that? For many of us, it marks the end of our work week, and I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I see Kiaran, Star Wars Fitz is in the chat. It's already work week is over, right? so it's Friday afternoon, Friday evening over in the UK, Ireland. So thank you for being here, Fitz. Not so nice on the Oshimir thing. You know, you're picking up too many habits from Matt Risman. You're just trying to poke the bear. So good to see you here. Brandon, thank you for being here. Good to see you as well. Thanks so much for joining the stream. You know, you guys do a ton for us just by being here and participating in the chat. It's extremely helpful because YouTube realizes, hey, there's real people here, actual folks listening to the show, talking to us, and all of that. Yeah, I know Kiaran was on holiday this week. That's what they like to call it when they have vacation time. So, yeah, Kiaran wasn't working this week anyway. But he got a green screen, and he's working to improve that with his channel. And Dale, I see Skywalker's Academy. Dale, thank you for the comment on last week's video talking about Padme dying in childbirth. And the reasoning that you came up to make it, I don't know if you came up with it or you borrowed it from somewhere else, that Padme actually sensed that Anakin was dying and she gave her life force to save him. So maybe so. But you see how this kind of reasoning and this kind of logic is one way that as Star Wars fans, we can take some of the content that maybe doesn't, resonate with us really, really well as individuals and make it fit so that we can enjoy it. Besides, it's a space fantasy set a long time ago in a galaxy far away. So a long time ago, right? So good to see you all. Yeah, Fitz is going to go see A New Hope over in theaters. They've been releasing those in theaters so folks can go and enjoy them through the summer viewing time. Yes, Risman. I still, I'm thinking about maybe using AI to try to get a voice and take a voice sample from Jerry Seinfeld and of him saying Newman, and replace Newman with Risman, and then putting that in a little video clip that I can play in the background whenever he is in here poking the bear. So good to see you all. We've got several news stories to talk about this week, and I think it might behoove us again. Nerd Mafia. Hey, I participated in Nerd Mafia. He started live streaming again and did a predictions game for Agatha. And I played along. I put my predictions in there. I don't know anything about nothing. So I put that in there. And then my wife and I watched that show just last night. And it was okay. We thought it was okay. Not exactly the show that I thought it was going to be, but not a bad show either. And hoping for it to improve from here. It's got a lot of potential. So, oh no, you said his name one too many times. You know, it's like the whole Beetlejuice, and we said his name one too many times, and now look who's here. Oh, geez. Good to see you, Matt. But you know, the Oceanmere thing, you guys know how to poke the bear really, really well. I try to be positive. I try to talk about all the things that I like in a show. And you know, The Acolyte, there's a lot of that show that I like and that I enjoy watching. I enjoyed rewatching once I had a different frame of mind about what the show was and what it was telling. And on the rewatch, there's just a couple parts I don't like. I didn't care for the Power of Many song, and I didn't care for Oceanmere at all. That's like the worst. It's worse than the song. But so what's Risman do? He makes a thing of it. Every time. It's Oceanmere. See this guy? This. Thank you, Matt. Good to see you here. It's great. It's great. We have lots of stories. I think it behooves us again to talk about sources for stories. And we have several Star Wars news items this week. We're going to start with my friend, and he's been absent recently. I haven't seen Bespin around too much. And I talked with, had a little chat with Jason Ward earlier this week. So Jason's doing fine. He's working. Bespin, I think, is doing fine. They're taking a little bit of a break. But Bespin posted this story. It says, Donald Glover confirms he's still working on Lando. Wants the movie to be fun. Now, I saw this taken all kinds of way from coverage amongst the Star Wars YouTube content creators out there. And look, he's talking about how Star Wars should be fun. There is an element of Star Wars you just can't take too seriously. I know Josh Lucas at Den of Nerds has this little ditto that he kind of sings about don't think about it too much, right? Don't think about it too much. That's how you have to watch Star Wars as a whole, in my opinion. And we have folks like Thor Skywalker who thinks about it way too much. But Thor is a good kind of critical thinker. He's like, this could have been better, but he still can enjoy it. And he's not just hating on Star Wars to hate on Star Wars, but he kind of gets into it too much for my blood from time to time. But that's what Donald Glover's saying here is, hey, let's get into these quotes. It says, Glover brought up the topic of Lando during the interview when discussing how it feels to work so closely with his brother, who wrote on the critically acclaimed show. Again, it looks weird when I'm looking to my right, but the words are to my left. So I'm going to move it to this monitor over here. This is Stephen Glover also worked with Donald on the Swarm and Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon. So here's his quote. I have nothing to say other than I'm really lucky. I get to work with my best friend all the time, and it's fun. And when we hang out, we work, and that's the best part. I'll go to visit his kids and hang out, but we end up talking about Lando and breaking a story or something like that. What else would you want? To be able to hang out with your friend and be like, we're actually doing work too, which is cool that he thinks of his brother as his friend. Just wonderful family dynamics there. It goes on to say, I just want it to be fun. As a Star Wars fan myself, I think it's important to have fun. And he's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. He says there needs to be more fun being had. It's very hard, compared to what? More fun compared to what? He says it's very hard to have fun right now. It's tough because there are very serious things happening and there are things connecting us weirdly. I want to stop on that for just a moment because there are very serious things happening in the world, not only here in the United States. For many of us here, we tend to be a little isolationist. We tend to think of things in the terms of the United States and the election and whatever political things are going on in your state. In my state, there's an issue ballot here, a ballot issue. We've got a Senate race. We've got things. The commercials are full of political ads, and you tend to focus on those things because they're ever present in your mind. But there's a war going on over in Europe, one that is quite shocking to me. And it's gone on far too long. That's the Russia's invasion, illegal invasion of Ukraine. And not that Ukraine is, innocent in all things by any means, but you just do not have the wherewithal to just attack another country, and very serious things. When you think about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, when you think about what's going on in Israel and Palestinians, people dying, right? People in war. Very, very serious state of the world that we live in. Pandemics, and you just can go on and on and on about what a terrible world we live in. In our own backyard, murders and immigration issues. I live here in Ohio, and our former president said people are eating our pets. I don't think that's true, but it's a bizarre world that we live in. So when he says for himself, he says it's very hard to have fun right now. They're very weighty matters to think about, right? There are things that in our world that kind of are ever present in our minds. So it's tough because this is, I get why things are serious, but part of human experience, I believe, is the ability to have enjoyment. And I think we're lacking in that department. And, that's one of the things that folks say Star Wars has been that escapism for us, right? It's been the thing that gets us kind of out of our backyard and takes us to a galaxy far away. That's the best part about fantasy as a whole, right? Chillmonger. I see you. And I've got a coworker who we met in person. And he goes, Santa, he called me Brian. He knows me by my name. Hey, Brian, I've got some disturbing news for you. He said, I ate a reindeer and I liked it. It was pretty good. So, oh my goodness. But thank you, Chillmonger. I love this guy's channel too. Chillmonger, great channel. I like his content a lot. But people go to fantasy fiction, whether it's Harry Potter, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, all of those fun franchises that are just escapism for us. And you get here, says, I think we're lacking that department. He says, Star Wars, I love it, but sometimes it be super serious. Sometimes it be way too serious. Everything that has to do with the Skywalkers is so serious. I think he's, again, right to a degree in that fans like me have grown up with Star Wars, and along with A lot, Matt. You made me chuckle at the wrong time, but oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. The uh, what was I saying? No, no, we grew up with Star Wars, and even George Lucas talked about it. How we watched it as a kid when we were 10 years old. Me specifically, 1977. I was 10 years old when I saw a New Hope, and at that point, um, I grew up with Star Wars. In some of the bits of the prequels that were a little more childish, right? The fart jokes and the oh, uh, goofiness of Jar Jar Binks, literal goofiness, like hyphenness, and things weren't really landing with me. But he said, I think they forget that these movies are made for 10-year-old boys, right? And that quote keeps coming back up and over and over and over again. But it's largely true. As we grow up, our tastes typically mature with us to some degree, and we look for their content to satisfy us in the stage of life that we're in. So he's not wrong. He's not wrong that some of it can be just way too serious, especially some of the dialogue we have as fans, even, right? It's a fandom. We can sometimes get way too in our heads and get way too serious, let ourselves get way too worked up over a fantasy. Uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? A fantasy franchise that should be more fun than sometimes we allow it to be. I've learned that lesson myself, and sometimes I have to be reminded. But so then he goes on to explain what he believes to be why audiences can relate to Calrissian, pointing towards Lando's scoundrel persona and appetite for money against the backdrop of a world or galaxy in chaos. He says, Lando, the best part about him is that he's a scoundrel. People can relate to that. And he's probably like, man, this war is whack. I need money, which I feel like everyone can relate to. So I want to bring fun to Star Wars. I just want Star Wars to be fun. So I don't disagree with him. And I look to see, well, what's that going to mean for us as far as a movie is concerned? And will that movie ever be made? That's the biggest question. That he and his brothers he and his brother are working on it while they're grilling hot dogs in the backyard. Great, but is it ever going to get done? Is it going to ever get reviewed and put into a screenplay, get cast, and get production budget and actually start production? Is that ever going to happen with the Lando movie? I don't know. I really do not know. So let me just get caught up with the chat. I saw some just wonderful chat here. Let's see. I'm going to back up, get all the way back. Eli, there you go. He says, I'm seeing Star Wars in a different light these days. It will never be the same feeling we grew up with. That's true. Unless we can, that song that plays at the beginning of my show, right? If we can stay young, we can remember what the world looked like in our childlike eyes. You ever have that experience where you go back to like the elementary you went to as a child? You go to, your early years where maybe you were formed some memories with some of your friends playing on the playground, and you go back to the playground, you go back to the school, and everything seems so small, right? Your perspective is entirely different. You're like, this was the greatest playground in the whole world. And you look at it and you're like, it ain't all that. So, yeah, it says, but there are too many people that love this franchise. It will survive this too. Yes, it will. Yes, it will, Eli. Thank you for that. Yeah, more fun than those serious things happening. Right. Skywalker Academy. Sup? Hey, Seth. Oh, sup? What's up? Hello, Seth. Yeah. Hey, Eli. There we go. Sabersmith. We talk about this all the time in my class. My students are very aware. What a great teacher. Thank you, Sabersmith. Thank you for what you're doing, teaching, helping the next generation grow up with some awareness of the world around them and this wonderful franchise, Star Wars, that we love so much. Yeah, yeah, Fitz. I've been watching videos about that depot that was not so indestructible. They're eating the porgs. Yes. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Yes, that was fantastic. That's what made me chuckle inappropriately, and I lost my train of thought. Sabersmith, recently it's been Harry Potter for me. You're aware of the new show that's coming. HBO, right, is putting together I think we're supposed to call it Max now, but anyway, I'm old. They're putting together a series, live action series, and they're beginning casting for the new Harry Potter series. I told Kiaran he should go apply to be Hagrid, you know. Yes, thank you for that, Fitz. Be sure to join our Discord. I'm going to try to do some things on the Discord. I saw some suggestions about maybe making a members content section where you can upload videos. I think I'll look into that. I need to get back to creating more in the Fate of the Jedi series. I've been listening to those while I mow the lawn and things, but I've been busy at work and haven't been able to record any videos lately. I need to get moving on that. We've been working on Abyss, almost finished with that, and move on to the next book here soon. So I want to finish Abyss and move on there. Let's see. Chillmonger, it's my man. I absolutely, the guy's content is great. Even when I disagree with him, I'm like, no, you're wrong, dude. He's super friendly. He's a nice guy. When you just watch him, you're like, who can not like this guy? I could just look at him. When he's talking, I'm like, that's a great dude. Well, it's probably because he's Canadian. They can't help it. They're Canadian. They're just likable guys. That's it. Oh my goodness. Need to create a special Discord channel to discuss. Risman. Dude, man, I tell you. All right. That's that. Another story that I saw this week, and this is a lot more fun story, is that Paul Sun-Hyung Lee did an interview with Katie Sackhoff, and he is such a big Star Wars nerd. He's such a huge Star Wars fan that and he made a very good point. Why do we not have Carson Teva action figures? We don't have them in Black Series or Vintage Collection. If you want to get your X-Wing pilots, we need to get not only Carson Teva, but we need to get what's his call sign? Dave Filoni's X-Wing pilot and Deborah Chow's X-Wing pilot. We need to get all of those Mandalorian X-Wing pilots. I petitioned forever, and I just grouched about not having blurgs. But you know what? Not only did we get blurgs, I got 4 of them. I bought 3 for myself. And then my friend Baymax made an ill-advised bet. And I haven't opened it yet. But right here, Baymax sent me this package in the mail because I won a bet. He said that the Cantina HasLab project would sell more than the Ghost HasLab project, both vintage collection, and he was wrong. so we made the bet, and so, oh my goodness, did you tape this enough, my friend? Goodness gracious. Okay, I was being careful. I was being careful with the knife here, opening this, but I see we've got paper around with paper underneath. We've got layers of packing. Oh my goodness. We've got layers of packing. There's one layer removed. What do we have under that? We got another layer underneath here. So we'll get in here. Let's see if I can get this layer off. I don't want to expose a shipping label that maybe he may have left under here. So I got to be careful. Yeah, this is like opening a Christmas present where your mom decided to make it more fun by putting like 5 layers of Christmas wrapping paper under there. There we go. What do you think? You think Peanut would like to have some paper to rip up? I do. Let's see. Here, hold on. Here. Hey, Peanut, you want some paper? Huh? You want it? Nope. Nope, she doesn't want it. So, all right. So no label on there. It's safe to open. Let's get into here and see what's in the box. So there we go. There it is. Oh, there's a bonus prize in here. Not only did I get my blurred, right? There it is. My beautiful blurred, my winnings. But I got a bonus present in here from my friend Baymax. Baymax right inside here. What's that? What is it? What is it? I know what it is. I can see. It's great. Baymax knows Santa. Look at that. We've got a Ray plushie. She's got her staff there. Oh, she talks. Well, I'm just a scavenger. Hold on.
The droid is not for sale.
The droid is not for sale.
No, stop! What's your horror thief? Oh, I'm no one.
Oh,
I'm just a scavenger.
I'm a no one. I'm a scavenger.
The droid is not for sale.
The droid is not for sale.
No, stop!
I still don't get that one.
What's your horror thief?
What's your hurry, thief?
Oh, I'm no one.
I'm a no one.
I'm just a scavenger.
I'm just a scavenger. I love it. Yeah, might be the most unflattering Ray anything I have ever seen. I'll add it to my Ray collection. Thank you, Baymax. That's fantastic. That makes me happy. Does she sing The Power of Many? No, she does not. No. Layer of one, layer of two, layer of many. Seth says, my bird loves paper. Well, we had this toy here where you can load it with things, but look at what she's done. She's destroyed this thing. She's like absolutely torn it apart, which is great. That's what foraging for activity. It's healthy for the bird. So she likes that. Here, you want this? Nope, don't want that either. Okay. All right. So, but Paul says, hey, I would like a Carson Teva figure. Me too. I think that would be great. So let's start the campaign. We need to start the campaign. Hello, elves. Elfos. Hello, KG. Oh, good to see you again. Thanks for joining. Keep Matt Risman in line, would you? That guy's up there causing problems. And just, give him a kick. keep him in line. He needs somebody to watch, behave himself. So I've assigned KG. It's your responsibility to keep Matt in line. Don't let me down. Don't. Carson. So if we should start a campaign to get these Carson figures. Yes, like we did with the blurgs, and just don't quit making noise until we get it. All right. Next story. Star Wars Skeleton Crew exclusive photos revealed Jaleel White as a space pirate. So Entertainment Weekly this week put. I saw something in the chat. So before we read this, let me get caught back up with the chat. I saw something back up here. Oh, where was it? Maybe I lost it. Oh, here we go. Shipping toys to Santa, $30. Watching Santa turn into a 12-year-old, priceless. Thank you, Skywalker's Academy. Thank you for that. All right. Here we go. Jaleel White. Arg, there be pirates. Yesterday was Speak Like a Pirate Day. So there be pirates, and we get the exclusive first look. And this is Jaleel White right here to the left of our Wolfman dude. And I see Vintage Collection folks disappointed that with the Cantina, we did not get this species, the character from the Cantina, unlocked in the tiers. And so they're hoping that with maybe one of these other shows that they will card the figure, so at least they can get the species to put in the Cantina. Otherwise, they've got to go to 3D printers and different things like that, custom makers, or do hacks to get them. So there's Jaleel White playing one of the pirates, and the story tells us a little bit about this pirate gang. And here you see Jude Law playing Jod Nawood, right? It says KB is played by Kirana Crater. Wim is Rabbi Cabot Conyers. Fern is Ryan Kiara Armstrong. And Neil by Robert Timothy Smith. So that's the Skeleton Crew cast back there behind. So look, Skeleton Crew's coming up. We'll cover more of this later. But the thing that kind of jumps out of this story is something that came up later this week. In fact, it's making the rounds today. And I saw Star Wars Meg, my friend. I got to talk with Meg Monday. It was great. I've missed her. But Meg covered this in her video today. Production Weekly. People watch this from time to time to see what's going on in Hollywood, especially if you're an actor and you're looking for work. Maybe you want to try to find something. You've got your agent looking for something for you. If we just scan Production Weekly for September 19th, that's yesterday, and we put in Find Star Wars. All right, I put in Find Star Wars. Go to the first example. It says Star Wars New Jedi Order. That's the Rey movie. Contrary to Mr. Risman's famous hashtag, it's still on the list, Matt. So there, take that. What you don't see here is the Lando movie, but you do see the Rey movie right there, New Jedi Order. But what's listed right after that? Again, still not the Lando movie, unless maybe it is Star Wars Pirates right there. Star Wars Pirates. So we've got Star Wars New Jedi Order and Star Wars Pirates listed in Production Weekly. What's this mean? What's the takeaway? Well, Production Weekly is a trade that kind of gives you a list of things that are in the works in some fashion or another. the titles may not be accurate, but generally there's a project. And so they scan, much like a Google search, they scan all these different trades. They do scour the internet as well, and they look for certain terms, right? And then they compile them together. Anything that has enough of a trend makes the list. So here we've got something that says pirates. What is it? What could it be? The Star Wars Pirates. Could it be a spinoff of Skeleton Crew? Again, Star Wars Meg did a good video today talking about the speculation of what it possibly could be. And maybe we'll get a spinoff. Is it a series? Is it a movie? Well, if we just, again, read here, this is 144 listings. It doesn't say what is a movie, what's a TV. And you see here, Coral Gables Christmas Caroling Extravaganza. That's not a movie. 100 Nights of Hero. I don't know what that is. So there's all kinds of things listed here. But again, the things that get our attention. A Pie to Die For. How about that? Star Wars New Jedi Order and Star Wars Pirates. Live action movie, live action show on Disney Plus. Live action or animated movie. Maybe we get a feature length animated movie, much like the Spider-Man movies that were just fantastic. Wouldn't you love to see an animated feature length animated Star Wars movie that gets the same kind of audience appeal as the Spider-Man animated movies? Wouldn't that be cool? I would love it. And then what about maybe it's an animated series set in this Mandoverse era and taking this story further. I don't know. We'll have to look and see. As I mentioned before, my friend Jason Ward is busy. He's been working. I haven't been able to catch up with him. And I haven't caught from Jason nor from Bestman if they've heard anything on this Pirates project. What could it be? Is it possible? We don't know. So I realized I wasn't sharing when I saw here's a pie to die for. Right? There's that. And then we had the Christmas, the Coral Gables Christmas caroling extravagant. Why are you doing that? Here we go. Coral Gables Christmas caroling extravaganza. There we go. They've got those on there. All right. So yeah, I don't know what is going to come. KG says a Pixar version. Oh, you know what? Pixar is owned by Disney, but Lucasfilm has their own animation studio. So I don't think it would be a crossover studio. Although Spider-Man is done by Sony and Marvel Studios is different. So I guess it's right. I reckon it's possible. So there's that. Nick says that Wolfman species has been seen in Star Wars before. Yes, it has. Not only, well, the first time was in A New Hope in the cantina. So he said he just looked him up. His name is Wolfman. There you go. Sabersmith says, next animation series, please. When? I know. Look, Sabersmith, they could announce it today. And we could have a new Star Wars animated series next week. It's literally ready to go. When? We don't know. Come on, Lucasfilm. Let the cat out of the bag. That's not, let it run. Let's go. Let's do it. We're ready. So, Production Weekly, there's a new project to kind of keep our eyes on. This Pirates, what is it? I don't know. We'll have to watch and see. And then I thought I would bring up Star Wars Meg's video from today because there was a couple of other things that she covered. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and talk about it just a little bit here. I'm going to mute it so we don't get some echo or anything like that. Yeah, the waiting's killing us. Yes. Um, the Omega spinoff. I would love to see Omega make it to live action, or another animated series following her with the rebellion leading up to A New Hope. Yes. Chillmonger says they're probably waiting for Japan to announce the animated. I hope not. I hope we get something animated between now and Japan. Next spring, there's room in there for another animated Star Wars series, especially if it's in the likes of Visions. Yeah, as Fitz said, Visions Volume 3, Season 3, or Tales of, we had Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi. Give us another Tales of that's like 6 animated shorts, 5 to 10 minutes, what 10 to 15 minutes each, maybe something like that, around 10 minutes each. 6 episodes where you could drop them all in a day. Do at least something like Visions or Tales of. But I would love to see something as far as a full-blown series like the Clone Wars animated series or the Bad Batch animated series. I would love to see something like that announced. And you're probably right, Chillmonger. We'll probably have to wait until Japan to get that announcement. But they've got plenty of time between now and then to do a Visions or Tales of kind of thing. So look for that. At least I'm hoping for that. All right. So Meg covered this in her video today. Let me just put this out. I've got the subtitles on. We'll see how well the subtitles, the automatic subtitles, pick up on Meg's accent. Then other Star Wars updates. Lucasfilm dropped a new Anakin and Obi-Wan story. Takes place between the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. It's like the canon version of a Legends book called Rogue Planet. Oh, now I get this stupid political commercial. I got to look at Jim Harbaugh. I don't want to do that. All right. Padawan's Pride. Set 3 years after Phantom Menace. And the celebration on Naboo, and explores Obi-Wan and Anakin. They're dispatched to the moons of V, and there's a crime lord pod racing circuit, and I think it's an audio drama. And then after that, there is this comic book series being released. It's called Ghost Agents. It's before the Bad Batch, following the members of the Bad Batch, and it'll take place before that. So I want to stop it here because Meg, God bless her, she reached deep into the. Wait a minute, somebody's waiting. Who is it? We've got Sketchcraft Rob.
Oh no. It really sounds like, oh no. Oh.
I was, I was like, who could it be? I scrolled down. Oh, it's just
I saw that. I saw that reaction. You've had some kids show up and sit on your lap and go, oh no,
oh geez,
guys,
here comes that kid again. Oh no. No, good to see you, Rob. We haven't been able to talk for some time, but I stopped on this story Meg covered today. This is an example, and it's good to have you here because I think your take on this will be good. This is an example of somebody creating a story out of thin air, out of with absolutely no foundation, no source, no credibility whatsoever, only to create some drama. And the story basically goes like this. Jon Favreau is trying to save Star Wars. And the way that he plans to do it is by putting the original trilogy cast into the Mando Grogu movie. And we'll get a proper Luke Skywalker Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Chewbacca,
Sure. Right.
rather than the versions that we got in the sequel trilogy and other stories. So he's going to fix it. He's going to make it right. He's going to put in a proper story with the original trilogy cast being the heroes that we want them to be. But you know what? He's been foiled again.
This honestly, I'm glad the opening crawl is playing behind me, because this could be the opening crawl to the never-ending Chad saga of Star Wars coverage on YouTube, right? Like, plans have been foiled by the dastardly Kathleen Kennedy, right? Like, let me just say, was it Kennedy? Did Kathy do it?
No, this time it's Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford. You know, he hates Star Wars anyway, and
the guy playing Red Hulk.
and the story says he is opposed to seeing CG characters put into portray Carrie Fisher or himself as a younger him or Mark. So he's opposed to using the technology to de-age or to put in characters that are no longer. He's
cool with being a roided out, red hot looking hot tamales Mike and Ike's monster, but he's not cool. He draws a line.
Credit Meg, because Meg basically, without your humor, right? Meg says the same thing. She's like, I don't know about this because he didn't seem to have any trouble with this, right? Being a Red Hawk completely, yeah,
CG. That guy. That's not how this works. All right,
or de-aged is young Indiana Jones. He didn't seem to mind that, but now he draws the line at the movie. It's just,
they don't need Harrison Ford's permission to do anything, including using his likeness as Han Solo. That was squared away in 77, like, or 76. Lucas got all them rights a long time ago. He's been able to do whatever he wants with their likeness as those characters, period. It's one of the genius moves Lucas made 40 years ago. He was kind enough to give them a percentage point on it after the success of the first film. Carrie, Hans, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill. But it's not how any of this works, guys. It's not how production works. It's not how any of this works. If they don't want to do it, it's because internally they don't want to do it. And really, more likely, Favreau wouldn't want. If the director wants to do it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to get done. Now, it's a little weirder with Lucasfilm because, as we know, you could be directing a movie at Lucasfilm and they'll still fire you in the middle of production.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, really, it's Kathleen Kennedy calling the shots, and we have to be honest there. And I think Jeff Snyder called her. She's part of the Spielberg mafia. It's a little harsh, but there is some truth to this. They are part of the old Hollywood guard, like they've been running things. She's been an active producer in Hollywood since 83, 81, 81, around there, right? So like, we're going on 40, 50 years here. So if they just internally don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But this whole, like, Harrison Ford gets to say in anything that happens in a Star Wars movie is ridiculous. He can choose not to participate, but they don't need him. They can have anyone mocap and act. And, I mean, they're going to have to do it for Carrie. You know what I mean? They're not like they're going to have, who would do Carrie's mocap, right? Like, I'm against all of this, Santa, in that using AI replacements. I've come a long way. It was interesting seeing the technology on Mando season 2, when Luke pops out, and it's been interesting to see them develop that. But I believe you should just go back to recasting new actors because, sorry, no, if Lucas had tried to do some form of that de-aging technology in 97 instead of casting Ewan McGregor, we'd be in a whole world of problem. Right? No one's ever turned on the Phantom Menace or turned on Murder by Death and goes, "What's Ewan McGregor doing in the 1970s?" No one mistakes Ewan McGregor for Allen McGuinness, or Allen Guinness. Sorry, no one's. Yeah, I know. I always call him McGuinness because there's a comic artist called Ed McGuinness. So in my head, they're all intertwined. Alec Guinness. No one mistakes the two. So you can have a new actor. You know, the trick is they got to stick with that actor for a period of films. So if they're going to do a young Luke and you get a Sebastian Stan or someone like that, you get an actual actor, you got to stick with them for this era. That's the trick, you know?
Right. Yeah, KG's got it. In a small cameo case, sure, you can pull it off. They did it a couple times, like in Rogue One, right? You got Carrie in there, and you got
even then, even then, there was a small cameo of Carrie in Rogue One, right? As you said, and a lot of people didn't like. I didn't like that particular use of CGI. I thought you were better off just casting someone who looked like Carrie. I mean, it would have gotten you closer if they had put, let's say, Millie Bobby Brown. You would have been like, it's Millie Bobby Brown as Princess Leia. Yeah, but it would have. No one's mistaking that CGI Carrie Fisher for Carrie Fisher. Like no one's like, wow, she miraculously de-aged 50 years. Like nobody's saying that. Not in the I love the movie. It's my favorite Star Wars film since Empire. You know, I said that the day it came out. I stand by it. But nobody is mistaking that for and even Peter Cushing. No one's mistaking that for the real Peter Cushing. You know, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And we've had plenty of examples where actors die and they have to be replaced, and they put a little in memory of at the beginning or end or both, and you just move on, right? We know that Carrie's no longer with us. You recast.
How about this, Sam? How about this? River Phoenix doesn't look anything like Harrison Ford. Let's just be honest with you. River Phoenix doesn't look anything like Harrison Ford. Not an ounce. River Phoenix wasn't in Standby. I mean, like, God damn, that Harrison Ford looking kid. Look at that kid. Nobody. But does he pull that off? Yes. Right? Acting, to quote John Lovitz. Acting. You just need an actor. You know what I mean? You don't even need someone that looks even remotely like them. You need the presence. That's the problem when you talk to non-creatives, like average, I call normies, right? Mm-hmm. They just go, they need to see the thing. But they don't understand that really all entertainment, especially movies, is a magic trick. All you got to do is get them to believe it. They don't have to see it. They don't even have to hear it. They have to believe it. Right. You know, and they use Alden. Well, don't use Alden Aaron, right? I mean, what's he been?
I thought he did a good job in Solo. When you watch the movie, it takes you a little while to settle in, but he did take on the mannerisms of Han Solo, Harrison Ford. So I think
he didn't have the energy. No, he didn't have the energy of like when Harrison Ford is playing that role, especially in the first two films. Jedi, it's a snooze fest. Forget that one. But when he's like, oh man, we're gonna go. It's gonna be. Oh, you know, I didn't like this job anyway. Bam, bam, bam. Like he's not doing that. He doesn't have the energy. Now, Chris Pine wasn't pretending to be Captain Kirk in that movie, but he had the swagger. That he was pulling off the. I believe that guy is gonna walk into a room and throw his weight. You know, throw his proverbial, you know what, around the room. Yeah. So Alden doesn't have that, and I'm sorry. Like that's. It doesn't matter if you look like it or if was he bad? No. I mean, in the same way, I don't think Val Kilmer was a bad Batman, but he didn't have the charisma of a presence of the Michael Keaton.
I think the strongest argument for Alden is that we've already recast him, and rather than recasting again, you've already done it. Go with the guy you got.
But Alden was cast as a Han Solo that existed before A New Hope, right? Or let's just call it Star Wars around here, Santa, because you and me, we get it, right? Right? Yeah. If that shit was, sorry, pardon my language. If that wasn't called if that was called A New Hope, it would have made no money. It's called Star Wars. Let's be honest. So, but we're talking about Han Solo post Jedi plus 10 years. 7 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years.
Well, five, 6, 7. If put him into Mandoverse. But let's be honest about something else too. They're not about to make the Mando Grogu movie the coming out for the original heroes to be featured in a movie. That's not
Sanity.
the place they're going to do that, right?
Yeah, I would say never predict the studio.
Okay. But to me, it's laying right there for the taking. Is you put movies cast immediately after, shortly after Return of the Jedi, and you begin to build stories from Return of the Jedi to Mandoverse in that 5-year setting. You pick your cast and you start writing movies in that era. I'm personally a fan of animation, and I would go for a post Return of the Jedi original heroes in animation. But let's be real, they're more likely to recast.
This is not how Hollywood thinks, Santa. You're very sweet. You're very sweet. I appreciate. I'm a 2D animation guy. I appreciate your mentality. Here's how Hollywood thinks. We want to swing the biggest thing. We want the biggest noise. We want to be. We're the biggest movie studio. We are Star Wars. We are the golden. We're the Gone with the Wind. We're the last of the golden era. Right. And that's not true. They were really the first of the upstart young bucks. Right. But now Star Wars is the golden age of Hollywood that has remained. We're going to put a cinematic movie out, and we're going to be the thing that everyone talks about. The reality is no kid's looking forward to Han Solo, Carrie Fisher, and Luke Skywalker reappearing in a movie. Our age would get excited and be cynical at the same time, because that's how Gen X is.
Yeah.
Happy and mad at the same, always about everything.
Yes.
But the only place they would do all three like this is in a movie. That is how this works. That is the only way to justify doing it. It's the only reason why I justify doing it, putting the money into it, having to explain it to everybody. It would be in a film. Would they tell anyone? No, I think they would try to keep it an absolute secret. That's how Favreau works. We would all know it was coming, and then it would appear probably in a sequence that either we really loved or would be underwhelming.
Well,
hard to say how you're going to react, because that's how Luke appeared in Mando season 2. Some people were underwhelmed with that. Most people loved it, but you had the, it doesn't really look like him, and so. Yeah. But I think we could all agree the sequence where Luke finally, you get to see him. Unfortunately, he's killing robots, so I'm like weak. Come on, man. That's prequel Lucas. Old Lucas would have him choking Gamoran guards and cutting off arms right in the cantina, blood everywhere. No carbon scoring, no blood on the floor. That's the star. People talk about original George Lucas. Can we get back to original George Lucas,
please?
Right, where blood is drawn when you cut people, no one cares, and we just shoot people down, and when we don't like them,
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Lightsaber didn't cauterize that guy's arm a whole lot, did it?
Heck no. No. Our best friends betray us in an instant because it suits, Well,
Well, that's
it doesn't work right.
It starts with him just shooting his buddy in the back and climbing over the wall. Oh, you're going to make it.
You're using timelines now. We're talking about 77 here.
I know. Look, it's you're probably exactly right, Rob. As original trilogy fans go, it's what we want for the current studio, Disney, Lucasfilm, whatever, and modern audiences. Is it the big blockbuster that they would swing for?
The only person they would let do it right now is Favreau. Yeah. He's earned enough. You got to understand, studios work on cred, internal cred. So when Andor was coming out, Jason and them were trying to figure out how did they get this budget for Andor, so high. And I had to explain, Jason agreed, but sometimes they forget. Tony Gilroy earned them $1 billion at the box office. He took something that internally they felt wasn't working for whatever reason and turned it into $1 billion. And if you think that's easy, see how many films do it. Right. There was that small period of time for 3 years where Marvel seemed to be doing it all the time. So everyone thought, every movie was going to make $1 billion. But so Tony Gilroy amassed a great amount of street cred within the studio. Favreau came into it with some cred because he earned Disney the Lion King and the Jungle Book money. Can't undersell how much money that earned them. I don't like the movies, but there you go. And then, as far as they're concerned, Favreau put Disney Plus on the map.
Yeah,
right.
100%. Yeah,
forget Grogu. It just put Disney Plus on the map instantly.
It did.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian put Disney Plus on the map, and now it was a sequence of things all put together that created the environment, right? We were in a pandemic. Everybody's at home. We're looking for original content, looking for something new. And he delivered on all of that, plus just a great story with great character.
And let's not forget, he got Greg Fraser to shoot it. And so it looked fantastic. Those first few episodes were shot by Greg Fraser, the DP on Dune, the DP on the Batman. Greg Fraser is the best cinematographer working today, I believe. So
and he pitched what we know as the volume because of what he had been working on with
he helped build it.
Yeah. Well, it was these series of movies that he had done leading up through the Jungle Book. And he's like, I think there's a way we can do this, and pitched it. And they said, yep, let's do it. So all the money they're making off of the volume, at least partially goes back to him saying, let's put these pieces together. And then ILM running with it and creating what is now a moneymaker for them that they lease out to other studios that they, have copyrighted and trademarked. So
Favreau has earned that credit, and people need to understand that sort of thing means more to Hollywood producers than like Filoni working with Lucas or something on a cartoon. You got to understand when you talk, and I've talked to producers and Hollywood writers, and I've worked with some screenwriters, before, like Kevin Grievous. I'm gonna name drop just so people know, and like who's making a new film right now. So congrats to Kev, dude. But like they operate on like the cartoons and the Clone Wars. That's kid stuff to them. I don't believe it. I believe you put enough money into it, animation's your way forward. Spider-Verse is my great example of this.
Well, that's what I mentioned earlier, right? Like if we could get a Spider-Verse kind of animated movie series that could generate that kind of excitement.
The studio. Chillmonger asks, when you say they would let Favreau, who specifically would let him? The studio. I'm not placing it just on Catholic because there's a bunch of people you don't know about that work at Lucasfilm, but Lucasfilm has a internal crew of people. One person that used to be there that called a lot of shots was Michelle Rejoin. Now, we don't want to constantly bring up those names because people hunt them down on social media, but she's since left the studio. But she was the one that Jason said at the time they were going to bring back Rian Johnson for Rise of Skywalker, and then she put together the JJ deal, because JJ, and that's how all that got flipped at the last second. And JJ was like, yeah, I can make the Christmas deadline. And, that was, so there's, everybody has their, I hate to use the word regime because it sounds so Iraq war, right? Like, everyone has their own crew, and Kathleen Kennedy has a crew of people at Lucas. So it's Lucasfilm. I place the studio. The studio will let. Again, the studio is the one calling the shots here, folks, at the end of the day. Yeah. If the studio doesn't like what they're doing, I don't care who you are, they will get rid of you. They don't care if you're Ron Howard, Chris Lord Miller, Tony Gilroy. They will. We've all seen that, right? They fire anybody. Like,
yeah, they'll let them go for sure. And there is a leadership team there that everything goes through like an executive team that makes decisions. And you're exactly right. Favreau has built the put it in financial terms. He's built the bank account that he can draw out of to get something done, right? So there's his balance is in the black.
And don't discount the thought that there might be an exterior brain trust amongst Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Alan Bergman. Is Bergman still there? No, Bergman's at Warner Brothers. But whoever, you know what I mean? Like some of the upper Disney cats might have. There might be a 2 or 3 people outside just having those lunches, those power lunches, right? Remember Santa? You'll remember this show enough. Remember when Martin Short used to do those skits in Hollywood where he played the agent, the flamboyant agent in Hollywood, right? And he with the smoking and no. But that's real. Like I've sat next to those dudes, you know? And then they order the avocado and tuna, and then they don't even eat it; just sits there, you know. And then it goes off. You're like, "What? That was a $70 plate of nothing." Like
Right.
So don't discount those kinds of decisions and those kinds of meetings is how you get a Robert Downey Jr. coming back. That's not an internal Marvel Studios. That's like 3 or 4 people, maybe even 2. Having a power lunch. So and when it comes to bringing back the visage of Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford, I gotta imagine Bob Iger's in on that meeting. You know,
I would think. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Iger's there or not.
I do because he's the kind of guy. I've been following Iger since the Eisner days, right? When Iger made that move to secure Pixar back into the fold. It's what ousted Michael Eisner. And he is legacy stuff. He likes big names. So when Iger came back, he was like, we're going to really work on the big thing, you know, the big names. That's how you get Robert Downey Jr. back. And this kind of move is an Iger move. I'm just telling you, I can't prove it. But, you know, I can't prove the existence of a black hole, but I can see around, right? Like I can see around where it would be. This feels, if it's true, this feels like an Iger thing more than a Kathleen Kennedy thing. Just going to be honest.
I think the story, going back to the source of this conversation, I think the story is complete BS, made up in order to create the drama of this continued feud going on at Lucasfilm, or ineptness, or like all of those things could be true, right? There could be feuds going on. There is certainly some degree of ineptness in some areas as we are looking from outside in. But I think there's a lot we don't know.
Do you think which one is not true? Do you think them being in the movie is not true? Or do you think it won't happen because Harrison Ford said no? Because the Harrison Ford said no is a part I tell you is BS. The idea of those 3 characters appearing in the film, I put at a greater than 50% chance, just because of the money. And they need a big win. They need a draw. They need a big surprise. And you're not going to get it from a Yoda. You're not going to get it from Baby Yoda now. To me, that's the Vader reveal moment, you know, from Rogue One.
Maybe in the closing minutes of the movie, you get that.
No, it'll be the whole sequence. It'll be a whole thing. Favreau will go big. If Favreau does it, it would be bigger than that.
Then I say no to that. No to both. If they were going to show up, and we heard mention of Dave Filoni's movie being an heir to the Empire kind of movie.
Heir to the Mandalorian.
That story featured all of them prominently. I don't think that that's going to happen at all. We do have some elements, right? We've got Thrawn coming back as an heir to the Empire, right? That term was said, but none of the story beats that are part of that original book.
It doesn't matter. You're thinking books and making sense. That is not how any of this works. You know, you have the era. You know they're alive. You put Luke Skywalker in the TV show. The only bigger thing you can do is to add the other 2 characters, Han and Leia. Santa. This is how Hollywood works. I'm telling you, it's very simple. It's a log line. It's 2 words. It's you sit at a thing, and go da da da, and then they go, oh my god, right? You take your victory lap. That's how Hollywood works. Nothing's changed.
Well,
you know,
I like to think that if they were going to feature the original 3, or the original hero, the original trilogy heroes, that they would be the marquee of the movie, not the subtitle of the movie.
No, the marquee of the movie is Mandalorian Grogu. If they did a Han Leia, that's not going to work. I know you would like to, but right now, Santa, I'm willing to bet you a whole candy cane. Whole plate of cookies that they appear in this film. You know what I mean? I buy it. I buy that. That's just logic, and they need a big win. And I know, like, Jason has alluded that the story is pretty simple. This is $120 million budget, is what Bespin would say. It's basically the season 4 budget is being turned into a movie. All those things. And I'm like, yeah, until someone says we want to do this thing and we need another 50, 60 million. How are we going to get the budget? Oh, we're going to put Mark, Han Solo, Luke, and Leia in there. Oh, here's another $60 million. Here's another $100 million. Like, this is how it works. So I'd put it at greater than 50%.
You could be right. I put it at less than 20%.
Fair enough.
Like I probably put it under 10%. Under 10% chance that they show up.
No, under 10%. Under 10%. No.
Under 10%. Of getting all 3 of them. A Luke, I'd put closer to 30%, but to get Han, Luke, Leia, and Chewbacca, less than 10%.
That's something Favreau would want to do.
Under 10%.
No, Santa. No. You obviously haven't played your Prices Right in a while. Okay. Yeah. You're forgetting your summer days at home watching the old Prices Right.
Yeah. No, I haven't caught Prices Right recently, so I put my $1 bet down, and maybe somebody else is right on. I think you are over, so I'm going to say $1. KG, never tell me the odds, right? Well, we'll see. I think the story is complete made up nonsense from the ground up. That there is no plan for Favreau to put the big 3 in Mando, Grogu, big 3 meaning Han, Leia, and Luke. I think that was never, has never been, is not a plan, and that it is not being foiled by some mustachio twisting bad guy who is taking all the fun away from the rest of us.
Harrison Ford has no say in what goes in any Star Wars movie. I'm just telling you right now, like none.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is nonsense, baloney.
And he's been proven you can just buy him with money. He doesn't care. He's not standing up for Carrie's rights or Mark's rights.
100%. Yeah, write him the check. He'll be there. Yeah. Absolutely, it's happening.
He'll be in a $300 million Indiana Jones film where he does nothing. He doesn't care.
True.
Right.
True. Well, Red Hawk. Red Hawk is another example, right? Yeah. Somebody asked him a question about it, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, he doesn't know the first thing about who Red Hawk is, the first thing about the whole story or anything. He knows because he did the mocap on it. That's all acting. Because they put him in the dots. You'll see that whole Marvel Assembled where he's wearing the suit and doing the whatever, So I guarantee they got him on that. So that's a lie. But in terms of like, where's he from? He doesn't know the comic. He doesn't care. I don't even know the story of Red Hulk. I just know Ed McGuinness drew him, when he appeared. See, that's the McGuinness part. That's in my head. He was the artist. Well done. Well done. Mike Porter dad joke. We got here. What's the name of the replica of one of the most famous droids in the galaxy? Not the droid, but the replica of the droid. It's R2D also. Yeah,
I think R2 redo would have been.
Oh, R2
better.
redo.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Bob.
You're speaking to a fellow punster, eh? Right, like Michael Andrews.
R2 redo. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And yes, the chosen pun. Thank you for that, KG. That is Mike Porter. And there's his Twitter link. Mike is helping a friend of his who had knee surgery, so he's not able to be in the chat today, but he contacted me earlier and said apologies for not being present. As I mentioned, I spoke with Jason earlier this week. He's doing fine. He's working. Life is good. And Bespin
already broke. Sorry, the acolyte broke him. You know, he just quit. Just destroyed him. I've talked to him. He's like, I don't. You know, since that show broke Jason in a way that he didn't even want to complain about it. He's like, I'm just gonna go home. It's like that's how I felt after Attack of the Clones. That's how I felt after Attack. You want to know how I felt after Attack of the Clones? That acolytes it.
Well, that's
like it's over. Like I'm out.
I talked with we had our members supporters stream Zoom meeting on Monday, and Star Wars Meg dialed in and visited with us, and that's the same thing we talked about. Is it broke Meg in a way that she had never experienced Star Wars before. And I was like, Meg,
welcome to the club. You finally all are welcome. All are here. Step into the blue Force Ghost light.
we have all had that. Well, maybe not all, but I know like KG was talking. Like we have each experienced that moment where with Star Wars where we're like, and we're just like done, you know. And then something drew us back, right? Whether it was going back and rewatching the originals or going back, or like for me, it was when The Force Awakens came out. It reawoke something in
it
mind.
Many times, Santa. The best and the worst Star Wars is still in front of us. It's just will we live long enough to see it?
True.
You know,
so it's
Santa's like,
yeah.
I'd really like to get on with the good Star Wars now, please.
Santa's not getting younger.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking to AI Santa here soon enough. You know?
Yeah, that is true. But no, you're right. It's unfortunate that for Meg, she's never had that before, and now she's going through the grieving process of that. And we're seeing that with a lot of folks, especially of her generation, who have run into some version of Star Wars now, whether it was The Last Jedi or The Acolyte or something else.
Did I ever tell you the exact moment in Attack of the Clones where it died?
I
was annoyed.
What was yours?
I was annoyed through the movie. You know, I was like, all right, man, weird CGI beard here. You know what I mean? The acting, I'm not buying them. But the part where I got angry and I was like, F this movie. It's when Owen looks at Anakin and goes, guess I mixed with brothers. I'm like, I'm out. You know, I literally just threw up the popcorn. I was just like this, because for me, thinking about the prequels for as long as I did, I always wanted to see this scene where like Owen was like, we're your family, Anakin, not Obi-Wan, you know? And he's like, which do you go with, my actual family or my chosen family? And the Jedi Knight chooses his chosen family and loses himself to the war, to whatever, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, there's this point where he just rejects his family and he makes the wrong call. You know what I mean? He makes the wrong call, and that Anakin never comes back to his brother. That's the human story. And it's like, no. I didn't even know this guy. Like, Mom got married when I was gone. I don't even know the dude. Right. He goes, guess it makes us brothers. I'm like, you, George, you know what I mean? I can't. No.
Right.
No.
Mine was the Droid Factory. R2 flying across there. I was like, wait, what? And then seeing the Battle of Geonosis. There were a couple parts in there. I did not care for flippy, spinny CG Yoda. Didn't care for that at all. And then with Dooku, and then didn't care for. I absolutely hated the part where 3PO's head come off and went on the battle droid.
Right, but all those can be edited around. But you're messing with the original trilogy when you deal with Owen and Anakin and Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
That goes to the first film. That is the heart. That is the whole hero's journey. You don't get Luke's journey without this uncle keeping this kid, his nephew, at bay because he saw what happened to his brother. And George took that away. There is no reason for him. He never knew Anakin. There's no point to this, other than George is just making it happen because the story needs it to. But all the humanity is lost. So it was like it's an irrecoverable, unforgivable sin, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. For me, it was the 3 strikes. Right. I was just like, nah, can't do it. And then rewatching it and it getting worse every time I rewatch it for a long time. I was like,
well, then the second one is just like, this is ridiculous. It's right after Anakin's like, I killed all the kids. I killed them, the little kids. And then she goes, Anakin, I love you. You know what I mean? You're like, no woman's going to be like, he just murdered kids. I love this guy. Like, that's not. He had to hide it from her, fine, but he can't tell it to her.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I get worked up about that. As an adult, it got worse for me because you'll see in abusive relationships where a woman will stay with a man who beats the snot out of them, right? Who's terribly abusive, and they stay because there's something from their childhood that they're looking to fulfill in that person. Something in their own self-esteem that puts them low to say, well, I deserved it, right? And then they get upset, and there's all these stories about women who go through abuse.
Sure, but you're talking about what you're essentially, regardless of whether the specificity of that is 100% accurate or not. You're talking about a human decision. You're talking about human characters, right? Exactly. Who have past trauma or have something going on that informs their current decision making, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, right?
Yes. And with Padme, you have somebody who was a privilege, who was put in a position of power, who has been a leader, who has been a hero for her people, and now she just goes straight to, this abusive guy that I'm with. I'm going to stay with him because he's the best thing that I've got going for me.
Yeah, sure. Right. I know. It's ridiculous. You don't buy any of it. I know. But like I said, at the end of the day, I could see how that could have existed. It poorly written. You don't watch Star Wars or Empire or Jedi and not think that couldn't have happened. You could just say, okay, I guess that's how it happened. She ended up in a bad relationship. Now the execution of that is poor, but Owen not being Anakin's actual brother is a real problem for me. Like it's a real problem, and it started in the Phantom Menace. I'm like, maybe somehow, like Owen will get born. Okay. I was like, maybe he has a trick to this, but there's no trick. The Emperor's clothes. The wizard is not real.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not Padme. She just doesn't understand what the Sand People are. She thinks they're non-sentient animals. Well, if that's
really, she says that in the movie. She has that conversation where she says they're no. Again, you're interjecting, Skywalker, a bunch of books and your own personal take and a Clone War cartoon somewhere maybe in there to that's not the movie, and that's not what was being presented.
Not the movie. Plus, when he says "and the women and the children," women and children isn't a term you use for. I killed all the puppies and the women and the children too.
We don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. It's way simpler than this, and I'll break it down. I'm really good at this,
But
right?
Springfield's not that far from me.
Phantom Menace.
Like, no.
So there was a movie called The Phantom Menace, and the whole point of The Phantom Menace, that film, that's in the film, I'm not interjecting, is Padme realizing that the Gungans are people too. Okay? Yeah. That is how the Gungans team up with them and they defeat the Troid. If you believe in that, then you got to think that woman already learned that aliens are people too.
Yeah.
So this is a lesson she already learned in the previous movie, and we're just pretending that never happened now. You know what I mean? Like, no.
So the point is, I think for you, for me, for Kay, for Dale, like Skywalker's Academy, we've all experienced these things in Star Wars,
right?
And we're expressing these specific things that you have to work yourself around. You have to come up with something else. You already said it, Rob, that, yeah, you're taking something from a book. You're taking something from some thin explanation of putting together some pieces
to make headcanon out of it. Yeah.
To make headcanon out of it and to make sense of the thing that doesn't make sense, right?
Doesn't make sense.
Whatever that might be for you, whatever that might be for me, you have to at least some way deal with it to move on. Or as Dale says, why do we still love Star Wars? Or why do we still love it? For me, it goes back to the original trilogy and then that space fantasy. And when I remember, it's in the song, in my opening song, right? When, I grew up to be a man, I forgot who I am. And in the entire song,
I heard the song,
the whole thing, it talks about how, I just clipped one little segment of the song.
I send it to Jason all the time. I sing it when we talk. So I love it.
But
it's my Blink 182.
He really comes to a point of saying that he hates Christmas because he was betrayed and like all these lies that he went through.
Right. I understand.
How it lost all luster and appeal. And it was just this terrible consumerism and things. That's part of the song before that. But then he goes back to this magic and wonder of being a kid and Christmas being something that brought back those memories of the magic and wonder, right? For me, it's the same way. It's like, yeah, this movie to me put me in a place really bad, but then I had to go back and remember the magic and wonder of Star Wars. And when I watched the sequel trilogy, I watched it through those lenses and just enjoyed it. When I watched the stuff on Disney Plus, I watched it through those lenses and just enjoy it. Are there parts that I dislike and I cringe and I'm like, oh, that's terrible? Sure. But that's Star Wars. And if you don't like it, then yeah, why are you following Star Wars?
No, that's not true. I don't like every football team. I don't like every person on the team. I don't like the coach. Still like the game of football. So when football is great, there's nothing quite like it. When soccer is great, there's nothing quite like it. When Star Wars is great, there's nothing quite like it. There more often than not is less Star Wars to love, but the stuff that is so good, I say go show me something that hits as strong as Andor and Rogue One in a Marvel or DC film, and it doesn't. It's different. When Batman hits right, there's nothing quite like it. So it has the je ne sais quoi. It has the thing that the reason why it resonates is because it's a freaking cool idea. It's a freaking cool idea. Yeah. And nothing will diminish that. It's just whoever's in charge of it. Can they get that cool idea across the finish line? Can they improve upon? Can they give us something we haven't seen? Can they do something with it? What I have a problem with is when they go, we got to make it for everyone. And when you attempt to make something for everyone, you end up with buffet food. Buffet food is something everyone can walk up to. No one loves buffet food. I don't care what you say. All right. People go, with the one place in Vegas. That was the one place in Vegas. Most of us hometown buffet and Cracker Barrel and all that other nonsense.
You can't tell me that when you were a kid, you didn't look forward to going to Ponderosa for dinner.
Huh? No.
Come on.
I had excellent taste in food. No, my father loved geriatric meals.
When I was a kid, Ponderosa was the bomb. That's where we wanted to go for dinner. That was like, woo, we're going to Ponderosa. We got super excited about it.
No, I want the snap and the razzle of like a Phil's barbecue. Give me 1980s Chuck E. Cheese. Punch him in the face with like, you got to notice me. You got to notice me. Here's where we're Star Wars. Not yeah, we're Star Wars, so we're the best. It's like, no, man, here's how you can do it. And that's and that's that comes out of creators matter. I don't care about ultimately the characters and the timelines and all this stuff. I care about the people who make it. And so you get a 1970s George Lucas who has something to prove, just came off American Graffiti, right? Wants to show he can do science fiction because THX 1138 was a failure and his, financially was a failure, not creatively. Finds a way to take the Americana from American Graffiti, the documentary feel from American Graffiti, and put it in a fairy tale sci-fi fantasy world, and then knocks it out the park. I need someone who has a vision and can get it across the field goal, not get it across the goal line, not be like, how do we make it all fit in the timeline and these characters will line up and set up this thing for no. That's not it. That's not it at all.
Yeah, and George proved that he didn't focus on that either. So I just go back to that awe and wonder of being a kid. And I said it early in the show, when you go back to the elementary school you were at as a kid and you look at the playground equipment, you're like, oh, that's junk. Even if it were new.
Yeah, Buck Rogers wasn't cool. I don't give a people rewrite history. Oh, Battlestar Galactica was a cool show. No, man, it tired you over. But no one was like, I'm gonna go watch Battlestar or Star Wars or V. Like Star Wars was cool. All this other science fiction was nonsense.
The way we looked at things when we were kids, at least for me, right? That playground that I played on, the school that I was in, you go back as an adult, it seems smaller, it seems less, it's lesser. Because my taste, my opinions, my maturity has changed. And you go back to that awe and wonder, the escapism, the thing that took you to a place, a galaxy far away, and allowed you to immerse yourself into have dreams of existing in that galaxy, a fantasy world.
Films are emotional. Films are emotional, Santa. And more than I'd say TV, more than it's because TV has time and you don't really have to worry about a certain episode. But films, every second counts. Every second counts in a movie. And so that you're talking about, you need a feeling. You need to walk in there and attain a feeling. And all too often, these studios are more interested in selling you a product or an IP or a fan base. We need to get a feeling. I mean, this is something Tarantino, you may or may not love his films. He operates on putting up emotional films. When you walk in there, you're going to feel it. You may be like, I'm feeling Tarantino. Yeah, but you're feeling it. It's the difference between that and go sit through some generic Blue Beetle movie where like anybody could have made this. It's just irrelevant. It's just a studio. But it's a studio. Anyone could have made it. Name me the director. You see what I'm saying? You got to, you have to, it's not the same. Nobody but George Lucas could have made that first Star Wars film. Like that's the difference. And could Favreau do it? Look, I think Favreau can do it, but I have been very critical of Favreau's writing since the Book of Boba Fett. Will he be in that mind space? Who knows? Everyone rises to different occasions, So I give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Dale's trying to drag me down a rabbit hole. Dale, I'll save this for a different discussion. But yeah,
in the Sarlacc pit, right, Santa? He's trying to drag you into the Sarlacc pit.
I get where he's going with the Last Jedi and the discussion about Luke and there. And he's not wrong in that it makes us draw conclusions on our own. Again, there's a huge rabbit hole here because some of what people are reading into it, they're bringing into the movie. The movie didn't tell them that. So I'll just leave it that way. And some of the people who hate The Last Jedi are doing that. They're bringing that into it. They're not taking that out of the movie. The movie tells you what you need to know, I believe, but it's what you're bringing into it and how you are choosing to view the sequences that lead you to those conclusions. So
look, at the end of the day with Last Jedi, I had this discussion online with a few comic professionals. I said, look, man, I'm 50-50 on the movie. There's a lot of it I don't like, but I would say the movie ends incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. I think the ending is it's a more satisfying ending for me than even parts of Jedi or Revenge of the Sith. I think it's a really strong ending. I think the emotion of that ending is well earned. And I think that guy should have been given the chance to continue that forward, because I think he figured out where to land on his feet with this sort of thing, you know? And I don't think making Star Wars is easy at all. We've said this before. It's hard, you know?
In the sequels, I like them in order they were released. The Force Awakens is my favorite of them. Last Jedi is second. And Rise of Skywalker. I am not a Reylo, and that ending did bother me. But I still like all three of those movies far better than I like any of the prequel movies. And that's
not Rise of Skywalker. And I've said it before, because at least with the prequels that we had pod racing and the Duel of Fates, and Darth Maul is pretty cool. There's nothing cool in the Rise of Skywalker, but the shot of the Death Star, I guess, I don't know. Cool. It's a dumb movie. Big dumb movie. Big dumb movie.
I don't want to again get drug into the rabbit hole and go down a path that I've gone along. I need to call it a day. Thanks, Rob. It was so fun to get to talk with you again.
Sorry for dragging the show down, Santa.
No, it was perfect. You did perfect, absolutely perfect.
I'm gonna go see Transformers in an hour.
Oh, are you?
You'd appreciate that.
We went and saw Beetlejuice.
Did you like it?
We thought it was good. It's not the Beetlejuice, but it's Beetlejuice. It's for a movie that comes so far after the original one. It did fine. It was fun. We enjoyed it.
I'm hoping to have that kid-like feeling today when I go see this movie. More often than not, the Transformers films have left me down. I vowed to never see another one in the theater, hated the trailers, but everyone who's felt the same way as me has seen this film, says it's great. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to walk in there with an open mind, you know, and hope that the artists prevail. And if it does, Santa, I'm hoping that if this film makes $300 million, they take it as a win. Because all too often Hollywood, people need to remember Spider-Verse made around 300 million. It did not make $1 billion. We need to take creatively enriched films and find a way to give them a footing and a platform to then continue on. Some people don't arrive on the first one, you know?
Yeah. Well, no regrets from Beetlejuice. Did you see Beetlejuice?
Nah, I'm waiting until it comes home too. I haven't been a fan of anything Tim Burton's done since Big Fish.
Yeah. I wouldn't tell anybody, you have to go see this in the theater. No, not at all. Yeah. But we enjoyed watching it in the theater. And look, we only choose to go to maybe 2 or 3 movies a year. We don't go to the theater that often. And this one is one we chose to go see because we saw Beetlejuice when we were younger. And it's like, it looked fun. It was fun.
Yeah. And I would tell people, if you haven't seen the Beetlejuice 4K, I don't recommend a lot of 4K. I kind of think 4K is overrated. I want to be honest with you. I think a lot of films look better they look more like film at 1080p, and I still have my 1080p plasma, so I can prove it. But the 4K blue Beetlejuice is a game changer. The conversion on it is so good. It looks like the film. It looks the way you remember it. But you can see the amount of work they put into the backgrounds that you couldn't see before because it's all there. The amount of puppetry and makeup work, you see things you never picked up, especially like in the Office of the Dead and everything. Tons of things you and the lighting, it looks better. The sandworm compositing, but
again, you don't like. It is what it is, right? You let it be what it is, and you don't pretend it's not. So it's got some wonky effects in it, sure, but that's not about the effects. That's not what the movie's about.
No.
You just let it go. And The second movie, likewise, you got to let some of that stuff go. But the story is just not quite as good. There's a couple of things in it that are fantastic, and it's just fun. Again,
well, see, Santa, I have to be very judicious with my money right now because next year they're going to kill me. Like at the box office, I'm gonna get murdered because Mission Impossible's coming out, and I don't know if you know, but since Mission Impossible 1, I've seen each film the same amount of times as the number of the film in the theaters. So the first one once, the second one twice. It started. I didn't intend to do this, but it started with the third. I saw the third one 3. I saw the last one 7 times, and now I gotta go 8. I gotta go 8 times, Santa, and I got Avatar 3 next year, right? Lord knows how many times I'm going to see that. Like I'm like, I gotta set aside $500 for movies next year. Like I just gotta set it aside. Like that's it. That's just for the tickets. That doesn't even include the buckets, the popcorn. Oh man, I'm getting taken to the cleaners next year, Santa.
You should never have jumped on that pattern. Yeah, that's not good.
Praying this is the last one, just so they don't get me with. I love the team. I love the Mission Impossible film. So I'm that guy.
Okay, Max. Earlier I opened my blurg. Thank you for that.
Ooh.
I love it. My 4th blurg. Super thrilled about that. Thank you for that, Baymax. I really, really appreciate it. And the surprise gift in there, my Ray figure. All right, this girl here. Right? She talks.
It's not doing her face any justice with that.
No, it's not doing her justice in any way. But the droid is not.
Who approved this?
She does talk. Though. She does talk.
What's your horror thief?
I don't know.
I know, but that is not. I gotta have a talk with licensing. They're not. That's not acceptable.
We got the little hair hanging down here.
It's cute.
We got the 3 buttons on the back, right?
Yeah.
That means it's right.
It's everything in the front. I got a problem with Santa. We gotta have a talk. I gotta get our agent, and we gotta talk to licensing. This is not. It's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this whole area is bad. And,
that's not Daisy Ridley. No, we're not doing this. Yeah, very cute otherwise. And I've drawn many a plushie, so I understand.
All right, Rob, thanks one more time. Matt Cave Gaming, hello, 32 months of membership. He's just a little late, but thank you, Matt Cave. Thanks for joining in. Baymax says, I needed that Ray out of my house. Someone gave it. so he's passed it along to somebody who can appreciate it for what it is. I will gladly add it to my collection. So, all right, Rob, have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much.
Go buy my comic. Spawn Kills Every Spawn. Issue 3 hits next week. Issue 2 and 1's on the sales, available at any comic book shop. And I got some fun little Spawn Star Wars references and Easter eggs in there if you're into Star Wars. So you'll be able to see the Spawn DeLorean, little Spawn Grogu action, stuff like that. I'm always working in a Star Wars reference where I can. That's my plug. Sorry I ruined the show. See you on a month.
No, you brought the show way up. So Spawn, you're going to go see the movie?
With the Spawn movie?
Yeah.
If he ever makes it. We do make a joke about that in issue 2. If you want to see a Spawn, we make a joke about that never getting done. So that was a fun meta. It's a meta-like book, Santa. It's a little Spawn who's the worst one, who wants to be the best one, and rather than actually apply himself, he decides to kill all the other Spawns and be the last one standing. And he's no good at that either. So feels like my life. But I would say this: if I had my way, I would never do a live action Spawn. I would only make it animated, look like Arcane, look like Todd McFarlane's art, Greg Capullo's art. I think we need to get back into the mindset that big production animation is not only viable financially, it's probably better, especially for merch. Like, I don't want to see live action. When they eventually do a live action Miles Morales, it's not going to look as cool as the cartoon, man. Let's just be honest. It's just not. So
you make good points again. I have got to go. I've got some.
We gotta go. We gotta go
finish for the day. Thanks, Rob. Spawn. Catch the comic books. You got to do the next one. The
Spawn Kills Every Spawn.
Yes. Next week, you said.
Yeah, next week, issue 3.
Issue 3 comes out next week. Look for those. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a fantastic weekend, Rob. Take care,
Bye.
my friend. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, we're out. You guys, thanks once more for being here. And until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.